Yeah, there's a lot of pressure going on into the playoffs and next year. And speaking of the playoffs, let's talk about who we think are going to make the playoffs. Shall we, JD?
Let's do it.
All right, you want to start with East or West?
Let's start with the West. Tell me what you're thinking, and I'll kind of vibe off that.
Sounds good. So I think the number 1 seed is going to be the Denver Nuggets. I don't see, after their dismantling of every single team in the Western Conference and just punishing the Miami Heat with their length and size, I think that they are going to come into next season with just a robust sense of confidence, and they are going to be the number 1 seed in the West again. Number 2, I have the Sacramento Kings. So I don't believe for 1 second that what happened last year was a fluke, because if it was and they were just a regular season team, they would have gotten run over by the Warriors, and that is not what happened whatsoever.
Yeah, I think they're definitely pushing.
They're legit. They're legit, man. They really are. Like, to take the Warriors to a best of 7 like that, your first time in the playoffs in 16 years, that team is special. Their offensive capabilities are out of this world. They're young, they're fast, and they play fast. And I'm all about that. Number 3 spot, I think, has to go to the Suns. Has to. I mean, that starting lineup is crazy when you think about it, right? We got Devin Booker, we got Kevin Durant, we have Bradley Beal now, and they got their big man, Ayton, as well. I feel like I'm missing someone, but geez, that is a crazy starting lineup with a ton of offensive production capability. I think that Bradley Beal is going to have a little bit of a difficult transition personally next to Devin Booker, but we'll see. Devin Booker has really turned into an incredible playmaker, and that kid played his heart out in the playoffs last year. I'm so excited to see this team, hopefully fully healthy, moving forward. That's going to be amazing. Number 4, I got the LA Lakers, man. I think that once the Lakers made their trades at the deadline, they completely turned their ship around. That beginning Lakers team we saw last season, that is not going to be the team we see this season. I think that the Lakers are going to be consistent. They kept Roy Hachimura. They got Austin Reeves back on very team-friendly deals. I think that they're going to be box office this year, man. I really do.
How far do you think they could go with this newly constructed team and retaining a lot of their guys?
I think that they could potentially end up in the Western Conference Finals again. Absolutely. But with that
not
said,
beating the Nuggets, huh?
Nope. No one's beating the Nuggets. The only team, in my opinion, in the NBA right now who has a chance at beating the Nuggets is the Milwaukee Bucks. But we can get to that later. Number 5, I have the Memphis Grizzlies. So I think they were the 3rd seed last year. I am having them dip just because Ja Morant's suspended for 25 games, and unfortunately, Marcus Smart is just not Ja Morant. I think he's going to help in the locker room. He's going to help with the defensive culture and mindset, but he's not Ja Morant whatsoever. So I think they're going to take a little bit of a dip personally. Number 6, I have our LA Clippers. They've consistently been able to make the playoffs every single year since they signed Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. And they could potentially end up higher depending on if Kawhi Leonard and Paul George can even play basketball. No offense, guys, but you just can't stay on the court.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's their fault. I think the load management thing was been going on, maybe with Kawhi a little bit too much, but I know that, their front office was trying to load manage them much like the Raptors did when they won it all. And he's come out and said that he's willing to play his 83 games. But I also think that this guy is injury prone. And I'm talking about Kawhi Leonard. And Paul George kind of has a tough time too.
Yeah, we'll have to see what kind of Kawhi Leonard we're getting here. Because, hey, if he comes out and he plays 82 and he kills it, look out. That's all I got to say. Look out, because the Clippers will be for real. Number 7, I have a really plucky young team I'm excited about. That's the OKC Thunder. I think that they have constructed a brilliant young core. They got SGA, who is an all-NBA talent. That guy's a superstar, bar none. Josh Giddey. They have Jalen Williams. and they have Chet Holmgren. That's an incredible lineup. Not to mention they got Luke Dort out there. You're going to have Cason Wallace coming off the bench. You have the other Jalen Williams. Like, that's going to be a good team to watch. And
Doc, let me ask you something with these guys.
Ask away.
Are they the new Kings? Do you think that they could go as high as 2 or 3 in the season?
No.
Are they the new or are they the new Suns? You remember when the Suns had a great bubble push and then they became really dominant with Chris Paul after?
I think that we are still a couple years away from seeing the Thunder dynasty fully develop, but they're definitely on their way. They definitely are on their way because they are an exciting young team. And I think that this is going to be the year. They make the playoffs finally, too. And well-deserved. Number 8, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Timberwolves just because Karl Anthony Towns says a bunch of crazy stuff all the time, essentially. But we have to remember that they were the 8th seed, and he missed essentially like the entire season last year. He missed like 56 games. So with him playing, I think that they are going to be a playoff lock. Absolutely. And
really? Over the Mavs, dude, who have Kyrie and Luka Doncic?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm just not, it's unfortunate. I'm just not too impressed with what the Mavericks have done. I don't really like the combination of Kyrie and Luka. I don't think that Luka is hard to play with. I think Luka makes everyone he plays with look fantastic. That's one of his incredible skills. I just think that I don't think it's going to work, though, with Kyrie.
I think it can. I think that when it worked well. I think they're one of the most dominant offensive teams with Kyrie and Luka at the helm. I think they're just kind of working out the kinks. We do forget that this trade happened with, only a few games. Maybe it was like 15 to 20 games to kind of figure out how it works. And then they shut it down, if you recall, and they got fined for it. They got in trouble for shutting it down early, but they still have time to figure out stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not saying they can't. I just don't think that the tandem of Kyrie and Luka is going to work. At number 9, I have the Golden State Warriors. So this team just didn't get any better. I love Golden State. I will always respect their championship dynasty that they put together, but everyone on this team is on the wrong side of 30. And then they went out and they traded who was supposed to be their future in Jordan Poole. They traded him for Chris Paul. This team did not get better. They just didn't. They had the worst road record of any team last year, and they got bounced in the second round by LeBron and the Lakers. They just couldn't handle the size. They were beaten up by the Sacramento Kings, even though they won in 7. That was a hell of a series. But everyone's just getting older, and the only one who's aging gracefully is Steph Curry. I just don't see this team doing much anymore. Sorry, guys. I think it's over for you. It's
a hot take, in my opinion.
Hey, it might be a little bit of a hot take, but, I mean, it's not wrong, is it? Like, they're all getting older. They're all slowing down. The only one who's aging gracefully is Steph. And then they traded Jordan Poole. That was terrible. That was because he couldn't get along with Draymond Green, and there was all this drama in the locker room. I mean, when you have your coach coming out and saying, this is not a championship caliber team, why would I give you any sort of respect going into next year? Number 10, I have the Mavericks. Like I said, JD, I know you and I differ on this opinion. I'm just not impressed with them. I'm really not. I could be completely wrong, though. Who knows? I know you're high on them, but I'm just not. I'm high on Luka.
I mean, yeah, I'm high on Luka. I think Luka has proven that he's one of the top players in the NBA. And although they didn't make the playoffs this past season, I think it was large in part to them trying to mesh with Kyrie, and they shut it down. So I think that their record looks a lot worse than what it might have become. However, I think the Mavericks will probably make the playoffs. But I am going to say the Golden State Warriors, with the hot take that you made, I kind of am in agreement here. I think that this next season might be the year of the young guns. Sacramento Kings, the Grizzlies, OKC, and the Mavericks. They're all younger teams with a lot to prove, and I think they might be able to outpace these old guys.
Yeah, I just don't see the Warriors as savvy and experienced as the Warriors are. They're all getting old, man. And in basketball, once you hit above 30, dude, like your career takes a massive dip.
Father
That's just
time's
how the
hurting
game
you.
is.
Thank you for watching another episode of the Full Court Press NBA podcast. For the full podcast, click the link below and subscribe for more hoops content.